All right, so I'm here with Damian Adams. He is part of the Real Deal podcast. I mean, he's the host of the Real Deal podcast, and I'm so excited for him to be on the show. And, I just really wanted to talk to you about, the NFL tonight and what's been going on and what your thoughts are. So, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm always excited to, be a guest on somebody's show who knows their stuff and will help bring the best out of me. So I'm excited to do this.
Awesome, awesome. So I'm really a big New Orleans Saints fan. And I was just talking about the last game. Uh, very disappointed. I was like really rooting for them to really win the game. I don't know what happened. Like, it's just I'm just so disappointed.
Now, it's definitely disappointing, especially because you know how much we hate the Atlanta Falcons. So
Yeah,
losing to the Falcons in that way, last second field goal when it seems so avoidable, right? Some of the mistakes we made seem very avoidable. You start with Shaheed trying to field a punt inside the 5 yard line, missing it, muffing it, and Atlanta getting a touchdown. Derek Carr throwing a bad pick six where he's trying to throw it around the defender. It goes in the air. Linebacker gets it. So we gave him 14 points.
right.
We gave him 14 points. We lost by two. So it lets you know that we easily could have won this game without the mistakes, without, shooting ourselves in the foot. So it's definitely very disappointing for sure.
Yeah, I was like, didn't he have like three interceptions?
No, so in this one, he only had that was the one interception I remember correctly, just that one. But he
Okay.
also just Derek Carr, when it gets pressured, that's the problem, right? If he's in a clean pocket and he can take his time, which we saw in the first two games, he had a clean pocket, took his time, he's throwing darts down the field. And it seems like when he gets pressured, he starts to overthink things. And that's when he makes those mistakes. And in this game, he had some moments that were good. He made some good throws here and there, but it also was a lot of moments where he seemed indecisive, where he didn't know
Yeah,
exactly
he
what he wanted to
hesitated a
do.
lot. He
Yeah.
did.
So that's where you run into those issues. And that's why we need the running game to be strong like it was the first 2 weeks. When we're running the ball the way we did against Carolina and the way we did against Dallas, it makes it so much easier for Derek Carr because teams can't rush in that way because they're so scared of the running game. So because of the running game not being as strong against the Eagles and against the Falcons, that's where you see those struggles come from Derek Carr.
I know that in the game for the Kansas City Chiefs, they're not gonna have Taysom Hill,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
that's gonna be a
Taysom
problem.
for sure. Now he's a big part of the offense. The way that our new offensive coordinator, Clint Kubiak, uses him in so many different ways, right? You see him sometimes at running back, sometimes at fullback, sometimes at tight end, sometimes at wide receiver. He really makes the defense think because you never know what he's in there for. Is he going to block? Is he going to be someone catching the ball? Is he going to run the ball this play? And the defense has to account for him every time he's on the field. So that's really a big loss to not have him out there. But he's been already been hurt this year and he's been playing through injury, and it kind of just all came to a head. And now he's dealing with, a broken rib. So you definitely don't want him out there. You want him to get healed up for later on in the year. So it's going to be very big on our tight ends, Juwan Johnson and Foster Moreau, to really step up in these situations because we haven't had too much tight end production. So we need those guys to step up in the absence of Taysom Hill. We also need the fullback as well to step up and block in those situations for Alvin Kamara so that our running game can be good against the Chiefs because that's going to be very important in that game.
Yeah, I love the Chiefs. So it's gonna be like I don't know. I want either one would be I'll be happy to win, but I feel like they have a chance to redeem themselves this time. So hopefully they get back to that winning streak because I was having a little hope, and because like they give us a little hope, that little snatch of hope, and then they just take it away. So I just hope that they get back into it. Derek Carr, I feel like they're also bonding more as a team.
Yeah.
So they're getting along way better. So I think that that helps. Um, the team, be cohesive. Um, so I just wanted to, just talk to you more about also yourself and your podcast. Um, how long have you been doing this for as far as your podcast?
I've been doing the real deal with Damian Adams now for 5.5 years.
Oh wow, that's great. And what
Yeah.
inspired you to like just start the podcast?
So I've always wanted to be involved in sports. Like growing up, I grew up right outside New Orleans in Marrero, shout out to the West Bank. And grew up playing sports. I had the same dreams as a lot of other kids, right? Basketball was my sport. I was like, I want to make it to the NBA. Then I got to high school and I played against a few guys who made it to the NBA and I realized I'm not that good. I'm not gonna make it to the NBA. So what's my next step of still being involved in sports? And I was such a huge fan of Stuart Scott and still am. And Stephen A. Smith and guys like that. So at first I was thinking I could be a sports center anchor. I want to do, read the highlights and add my own kind of pizzazz to it, the way Stuart Scott did back in the day. And that kind of phased out as far as being one of the main positions in sports, being a sports center anchor. So then I saw someone like Stephen A. Smith who was able to do interviews, but also give his opinion and have his own show. At that time, it was way before he was on First Take. He had a show called Quite Frankly, where it was a night show for sports. And I was like, man, that looks really dope. I want to do that. So when I went to college for journalism and partied a little too much my first time around in college. So I had to, take a different route. So I joined the Navy and went to school online while in the Navy and went to journalism in that route and was able to, once I got out of the Navy, I was like, what can I do to really get my foot in the door? And creating a podcast was the best way to do that because it's something where you could connect with other people, especially through like Twitter. Like once I created the podcast, I saw so many other sports creators through Twitter that I'm able to have on the show and able to be on their show. And that's why I'm always quick when someone asks me to be on their show. 90% of the time I'm saying yes, because I want to be able to be that help to somebody else that they were to me. And it's really been something that I've loved and it's led to so many opportunities. The podcast is what led to me being able to cover sports. A lot of people it's the reverse. They'll cover sports first and then they'll get a podcast. For me, it was the podcast and I got, I guess discovered from the podcast by other outlets. And I was able to cover the WNBA to start and then the NBA, NFL, and college sports and get that experience of, quote unquote, real journalism in sports from doing my podcast and having my strong opinions. So it's been a great adventure and I'm just looking forward to now how it continues to go forward.
That's awesome. I love it.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I didn't know you had a background in journalism.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's always been what I wanted to do. Like I said, once I realized I wasn't gonna make it pro, I was like, what can I do to, continue being involved in sports and journalism with that main way?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of pro football players and basketball players that retire and going straight into broadcasting. So you're already on the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's something that honestly it makes it difficult because now a lot of those players, instead of going to a ESPN or going to a Fox Sports, they'll do a podcast. So now, you have to make yourself stand out even more. Like someone like myself, who isn't a former pro player, has to do more to make themselves stand out as far as trying to attract listenership in that way. So it's something that I love it for players that they have those podcasts. And also, it makes my job easier as a podcaster as well, because something can happen on a Paul George podcast, for example, that I could talk about on my podcast. But it's also kind of a challenge because now people are like, why would I go to listen to you when I could listen to a Paul George about basketball? I could listen to someone talk about football. So it's a challenge and it's a kind of a blessing in the same way. So it's something that, we're still trying to navigate as podcasters who aren't former professional athletes.
Right. Yeah, that's just the same as me. I'm not professional at all. I just do it because I love it. I enjoy just listening and watching sports. So, we're in the same boat, but I mean, you have more, 5.5 years. That's a big deal. So, I mean, do keep doing your thing.
I
I mean,
appreciate it.
I think you're doing a great job and, it's only up from here. So, so what, like, just to get you a little, I don't know your favorite players or your favorite teams, but just give me a little, who are you looking at right now?
So as far as NFL, I'm Saints all day. NBA is Pelicans. WNBA
Pelicans, I
is
got my
Phoenix.
Pelican shirt.
Yes, yes, let's go. Waiting for the season to start.
Me too.
Yeah.
Come
So
on, McCollum, do
now I'm super
something.
hyped for the season, for the Pelicans this year, and hopefully we stay healthy. I saw Trey Murphy already, strained his hamstring. Get healthy, Trey. We
Yeah.
stay healthy this year. That's the big thing with the Pelicans, just staying healthy. We got a very talented team that's got to stay healthy. But as far as my favorite players, of course, my favorite player in the NFL for a long time was Drew Brees. Definitely miss him. Miss
Me
Drew Brees
too.
a lot for sure. Um, but now my favorite player, probably Alvin Kamara. Love watching Alvin
Oh
Kamara
yeah.
play.
My
And
first YouTube channel. I talked
yeah,
about I did a rap about Alvin Kamara.
yes, Alvin Kamara is now he's amazing to watch. Like the balance, the strength, the power, the speed. He brings a total package to playing running back, and you're starting to see it more this year as he's being healthy and being able to run. Hopefully, he can stay healthy. I know he's a little banged up, but hopefully, he can stay healthy. He'll be a big part of this game on Monday for sure. Other players outside the Saints, uh, love watching play. Josh Allen, he's an absolute monster for Buffalo. Like watching him play quarterback is really fun because
Yeah,
he
he's a really
does
great
things.
quarterback.
Yeah, he does things that make you say, "Wow!" Like at least 3, 4 times a game. He's like, "Really? You made that throw? Like, how did you do that? Like, really? You just you stiffed arm two people, made a throw down the field, or you
Like
you run into the
what?
sideline, you throw it 50 yards down the field like it's nothing, just a flick of the wrist." So yeah, I love watching Josh Allen play. The name of my fantasy football team is Josh Allen and the Temptations.
That's awesome.
Because
I
like
love
Josh Allen
it.
is carrying me this year. So yeah, Josh Allen, I love watching Josh Allen play. Other players who in the NFL I just love to watch play. Um, man, I'm just as far as Derrick Henry, God, I love Derrick Henry. Somebody who's that big, that strong, that fast, and still even at this age, he's not old in, regular standards, but as far as a football player, he's getting up there and he's still dominant. And that's something that's really a credit to his work ethic of somebody who's taking care of his body in that way to still be dominant at this age. You got to love that. Now, on the basketball side, so many favorite players, so many favorite
There's
players,
so
but
many.
Zion's definitely number one. Love what I saw last year, playing 70 games. Of course, he got hurt at the wrong time in that huge game against the Lakers, pulled
Yeah,
his
that was
hamstring after dropping 40 points. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does this year. And I'm really looking forward to see how he expands his game. We all know he can dominate on the inside, can drive to the rim. I want to see him, shoot a little more jump shots here and there, some more mid-range.
yeah, they
A
were asking
three-pointer.
about that. Like, are you gonna shoot
Yeah.
more, basically? And he said, oh yeah, my 3-point game is good, So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, let's see it.
Yeah, no, I definitely want to see it. And then you don't need to do it too much. Like maybe one or two threes a game, a couple of mid-range jumpers, 3 or 4, and it just opens up the offense for him because now they have to respect the jump shot. It opens up everything for him. Because now if he pump fakes and they are falling for it, he's going to the rim. He's getting easy layups, getting easy dunks. So yes, definitely love Zion. Brandon Ingram, I think, is one of the most underrated players in the league.
Oh yeah,
He's so
definitely.
smooth. He's so smooth with everything that he does, the
Like butter.
mid-range jumper. Yeah. Like he's so smooth with everything that he does. Outside of the Pelicans, gotta give love to Luca. Luca can be a bit annoying at times. He can complain a lot to the referees.
Yeah.
But as far as his basketball game, he's he has everything. He could do everything, and he doesn't. It's so funny because he does it so slow. Like he could be moving as slow as a snail, but he gets to his spot. He knows exactly what to do, and you just have to love as a former basketball player myself, or I still play basketball, but somebody who had basketball dreams. You see somebody like that, and you see like why they're so good at what they do, the skill it takes to be on that level and to be elite at what they do is just amazing. Of course, Steph Curry, love what he did in the Olympics.
Yes,
Gotta
he
love that.
dominated it.
Like, yeah, it's so many basketball players that I love to watch, but of course, my Pelicans are my favorite, Zion and Brandon Ingram, and hopefully, Brandon Ingram is happy this year. I know they're still dealing with the contract situation and whatnot, but hopefully, he's happy and ready to go because I think the Pelicans could be really good this year.
Yes, I hope, Lord, please. But yeah, like I'm excited for the season, and I'm just waiting for them to go to the playoffs because I live in New Orleans, and I want to go to every game, or at least as many games as I can.
Yeah. Nah, that's one thing I'm jealous of. That's not living in New Orleans is being able to go to, as many games as possible. I always
Yeah.
go when they come out here. I always go to the game when they play against the Suns. I always go and covering the Suns last year. Excuse me, I got to go to, a couple games as a media member, but I couldn't be a fan. I just had to, had to chill
You had to
out.
work, right?
Yeah, had to, be professional. But this year I'll get to go as just a fan, just doing a podcast, and it's different. And I'm also going to New York. I have one of my Navy buddies lives up there. We're gonna go to a Pelicans Knicks game in
Oh,
Madison Square
nice.
Garden. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that for
Okay.
sure. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. So I'm definitely basketball is my favorite sport. So this one where I'm constantly trying to go to the games. And I can't, like I said, I'm super excited. And the Knicks have a couple of my favorite players as well. Jalen Brunson's a monster. They just got, Karl Towns. It's going to be very interesting to see what they do there. So I'm really looking forward to that game.
Oh man. I wish I need to go to more games. Like I was there, like I think I was there when Zion got hurt. So I was like, no, why, Lord, why? But I was so upset. But it was I'm just happy, we're going to be going, going to a new season, and I'm just also excited for the Chiefs game. I mean, I do love the Chiefs. So, um, whatever happens, I just hope that, it's a good game and it's not a blowout or anything like that. And we
Now,
play
I'm
what
ex
it's
I'm
supposed to
expecting
be.
a really good game in this one. I think
Yeah.
that both of the defenses are really good. The Chiefs offense hasn't really been the Chiefs offense that you think of, right? They haven't been
Mm-mm.
explosive. They have been scoring a bunch of points, and they're missing their best receiver now. He got hurt last week. So I think the Saints defense is set to have a really good game. So this game's going to come down to, can Derek Carr take advantage of the situations where he can make those big throws to Shaheed or a big throw to Olave? Can Kamara constantly get first downs running the ball? I think it's going to be a defensive battle, low scoring game, but I'm going Saints 20, Chiefs 17. I'm going with the
Okay.
upset in this one.
Okay. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. I'm gonna speak it. Let's do it. Yes. I love it. Man, my dad won't be very excited because he's been a Chiefs fan since he was like 8. So
Oh, wow.
he's been like he's Mahomes all the way. But hey, it'll be something to talk about when you win.
Yeah,
I'll be gloating.
for sure. For sure. And I love somebody who's been a fan of a team since that was that young. They're really
Yes.
dedicated.
Oh yeah. He's a lifer. And my family on my dad's side all go to the games, the Kansas City Chiefs games. So we'll see how that goes.
I love it. Got a family rivalry going
Oh
into Monday.
yeah, definitely, definitely. And then like my husband is like a Dallas Cowboys fan, so it's like uh
So, so
I'm in
did
like
you
in a
enjoy
battle.
when we beat them down? Did you get to rub it in?
Oh yes, I did. I did. Yes, I did. And he wasn't very happy about it, but I don't care. It's funny though. It's like, my husband's family's Cowboys, and then I have Chiefs, and then I'm a Saints fan and Chiefs, so it's kind of like, ugh.
Yeah,
But it's all good.
yeah.
Um, yeah, like I think that's all I'm going to talk about. If you wanted to add anything or shout out your podcast and, just let people know where we can find you.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. Hopefully, I ain't talk too much. I can be long-winded at times.
No, you're good. You're good.
But I really appreciate coming on the show, man. And you can find me at The Real Deal WDA. That's The Real Deal, W as in whiskey, D as in Delta, A as in Alpha on all social media platforms. I'm usually dropping some type of video, some type of take, something in my mind that's going on. I'll do something where I'm giving you my real deal take about it. Like my latest one I did on Jason Kidd. Would Jason Kidd be a superstar in today's NBA because of the change in how basketball is played today? Because Jason Kidd is one of the best point guards of all time, but with a pass first point guard who can't really shoot in that great way that point guard shoot today, be great in today's game? I think like that's a really good question. And that was my last video. I'll probably drop more videos this weekend. My podcast is called The Real Deal with Damian Adams. You can find on any podcast platform. That's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, iHeartRadio. Wherever you listen to podcasts, The Real Deal with Damian Adams is there. I cover the NFL, NBA, and boxing on my podcast. Sometimes it's just me, but other times I do try to get guests on who definitely know their stuff. I'm gonna try to get Keisha on as well later on to definitely talk some Pelicans talk during the NBA season for sure. So thank you so much for having me on. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It was awesome talking to you. And yeah, just follow me on Ballin with Keisha on YouTube and Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and that's it.